Hey guys, in the last episode of Mighty Kafka, we see what is Kafka and why should we use it. Today we're gonna install it in our Linux system, or more specifically Debian-based Ubuntu OS. If you want to install it in our remote OS or in your Mac, the procedure will remain same. If you're on Windows, I recommend you to download a virtual machine like VirtualBox, okay, and install it there, right? Okay, so let's get started. See, Kafka. Before installing Kafka, let's talk about some dependencies of it, right? Kafka is built upon Java, so it requires Java runtime environment to run. So we need to install Java first. There is one more dependency of Kafka, that is Zookeeper. For now, you can think on Zookeeper as a manager for Kafka, but we will explore Zookeeper in greater details in upcoming episode. So now we have two dependencies, Java and Zookeeper, right? But we don't need to explicitly install Zookeeper because it comes bundled together with Kafka binaries. Okay, so now we can move to the installation part. See, installing any package which might not be there in Linux Package Manager can be done in two steps. First one is to download binaries, and second one is to set up environment variable, right? Okay, so we have to do three things. First, we need to download the Jdk binaries, and then we need to download the Kafka binaries, and then set up environment variable to done with the installation part. Okay. So let's proceed with the first part of downloading binaries. See, you can easily download these binaries with the help of any browser, right? You can just go to their download page and then simply download their binaries, right? But I don't like this approach because if you are backend developer and for production, you have to deal with remote OSs, right? That are on cloud like AWS or Azure or Google Cloud. And there you don't get access to GUI. Instead, you have access to terminal only. So you can't open browser in remote OSs, right? Of course, you can do that with the help of VNC or PuTTY, but that takes too many resources and is not worthy. Okay, let's learn how to use terminal to install anything without help of GUI. Okay, let me open up a script file that I've created for you guys. We need to download two binaries, right? Java and Kafka. We can download these binaries with the help of a downloader or terminal based downloader like curl. So we need to install curl first. So we install it from our package manager because it is there in our package manager. So we can directly install it from there. So sudo apt install curl, this will install curl, and after installing curl, we need to use curl to download these two binaries. So we use curl syntax here, curl, then we specify the downloadable URL, keep the flag O to specify the target file. Okay. Similar kind of stuff for Kafka. We specify the downloadable URL, then the flag O, and mention the output file name. Okay, and as you can notice, this is a tarball kind of file, so we need to extract it, right? So we use tar command to extract it with three flags. The first flag is X, the second flag is Z, and F. X stands for extraction, which means that we want to extract the files. G means the compression level used in the tarball is a zip standard, and F means we want to retain the file structure from the tarball. And then at the end we specify the target file. Okay, same for Kafka, right? But you can see like the file name for Kafka is too long and we need to access it many times in our terminal, so we make it sorters, and for that we use mv command to rename it as simply Kafka. Okay, then we need to move it to certain directory. See, in Linux, the default directory, or you can say the recommended directory for JDK is userlib64. You can install it anywhere, but it's recommended to put it inside JDK userlib64. Okay, and similar for any other kind of third-party application like Kafka, you can put it there in OPT. Next, we need to set up permission inside this folder OPT Kafka for current user, because when you start Kafka, it's try to log certain things inside this folder, right? And if you don't have access for write, or you can say if you don't have write access, throw an error. And to avoid that, we give permission for read and write both. So we use chmod command to give the write permission. So chmod and then the flags for permissions, and then specify the target file, that is opt Kafka. Right? Till here, we are done with downloading, extraction, and moving the required file to recommended directories. And only thing that is remaining is setting up environment variable. Okay. And for that, we need to check first which kind of shell we are using. There are three most popular shells. The first one is bash, second one is G shell, and the third one is fish. If you are using bash, you have to modify the .bash rc file, right? If you are using fish, you need to configure fish rc, and if you are using G shell, you need to modify .gsh file, right? And these RC files are used to permanently set up environment variable. So we need to open the RC file. I'm opening .bash RC because that is the default one in Ubuntu. So let's open up any terminal and open the bash RC file with the help of any editor. I use Jdk for the same. So you can see this is the bash RC file. Basically what happens is when you log into your Linux, these files gets executed first. Okay, whatever path you specify here is reachable from any terminal window, right? So you can execute your script directly without giving the full path. Okay, this is about bash RC, and we need to put the path for our Kafka and Java here in the bash RC file like this at the end, and you need to save it. But see, this also requires some human intervention, or you can say some GUI access, right? So to avoid this, we keep it as it is. Okay. And for this also we use some command to modify these files from terminal only. T is a command that is used to modify files. So we use T command with append mode to append all the files at the end of the bash rc file. This is the target file. Okay, and we want to append these text inside this file, so we keep it as it is. Okay, next thing, we need to load the environment variable, and for that you need to use source command. Source command is basically used to load environment variable. You need to write source and then mention the target file, that is bash rc. If you're using G shell, you need to provide it as gshrc like this. Now, so this is all we need to do for the installation of Kafka, right? We can execute these script one by one in our terminal like this. Just copy one script and open up any terminal and paste it here like this and press enter. But I don't do it like this because it is time consuming to copy paste each script in your terminal and execute each line by line. So we can use an alternative method of creating a script that can execute all these at once, right? And to make it executable, let me open up a terminal. Right, and then you need to create a script file, right? So let's create it with the help of touch command. Touch script.sh. Touch basically used to create any file, or you can say empty file. So now you can see that we have created our script file, right? Okay, now let's just open it with the help of any editor. I use gedit for that. Gedit and then specify the file name script.sh. Okay, now we just paste all the script that we have written here. Cool. So we have successfully saved it. Okay, and now we need to execute all these at once, right? And for that we need to make it executable. Just let me verify that everything is correct. We want to install curl. Okay, then we download these two binaries. We extract it, we rename it, we move it to recommended directory, then we give the read write permission, then we append these in the bash rc file with this path and this for Kafka. Okay, so everything looks good. So let's quickly make it executable. And to make it executable, we need to use chmod command once again. So chmod, pass the flag +x. It just means to make it executable. and then script.sh. Cool. So now we have made our script file as executable one, and now we can execute it, right? So let's execute it. Okay, let me move it here, and also I want to open it here. I just want to show something, that's why I split it up like this. Okay, now we want to run this script, right? So we can run it like this, script.sh. It asks for password, so let's enter password and press enter. Cool. You can see that it is trying to install curl, because first we mentioned that install curl. Okay, and as it is already installed and it is the newest version, so it skipped the installation of curl and it proceed to the next part where we want to download these binaries from curl. So it is downloading currently the Jdk binaries, and then it will download Kafka binary. So just wait for the download to finish, then we'll move further. Okay, so you can see that for this, first it tried to download curl. It tried to install curl, and as it is already installed and is newest version, so just it skip it and proceed further. Like what are the next tasks that it has to do? It start downloading Jdk binaries. So this is for Jdk binaries. It is about 172 MB of size, and it is completed 100% of it. Okay, and after that it start downloading Kafka binaries. Like it is about 82 megabytes in size. It is also completed their downloading. Okay, and later on it do all these things like renaming, moving, and setting permission for current user on its own. Okay, and after that it try to set up environment variable, and we can see that it successfully do that, and the output is written over here, like what is the text that are appended at the end of the bash rc files. We can also verify this, so let us quickly verify it. Cat, and see, these things are appended at the end of the bash rc file. Okay, so let's just clear it, and we are done with the installation part. We can now verify that our installation is successful by running Java and Kafka. First, let me check Java. You can see that Java is successfully installed and its version 17 LTS. Okay, now let's start Kafka. But see, I already told you that Kafka is depending upon Zookeeper, and Zookeeper is like a manager for Kafka. So before starting Kafka, we need to start Zookeeper, right? So let's just split it. Okay, so start Zookeeper first. We can start it like this: Zookeeper server start, and then we need to specify their properties, right? And the properties can be found here: opt, Kafka, and inside config we have something like zookeeper.properties, right? Like this. So when I press enter, you can see that the Zookeeper is started. Now we can start Kafka, and for Kafka as well we do the same kind of stuff like how we are starting Zookeeper. So for Kafka, let's start it like this: Kafka server start .sh, and then we also need to provide the properties for server, Kafka server. So the property can be found in opt, Kafka, and inside config we have something called server.properties like this. And when we hit enter, we can see that it is trying to start Kafka. And here we go. You can see that Kafka is started successfully, right? So that's it for today's episode. Hope I'm able to make installation experience more smoother to you. If you have any queries, suggestions or corrections, drop a comment. Please do share it with your colleagues. We'll see you guys in our next episode. Till then, take care.